This video contains content relating to a fatal traffic collision and may be distressing to some viewers.
Almost 30,000 people are killed or seriously injured on our roads every year, and almost a quarter of these are aged between 17 and 24. We believe that the time has come for us to all take responsibility.
On a July evening in 2017, 3 young women set out along this road here in Cumbria for a meal out together at a local restaurant. Unfortunately for 2 of them, they would never return. Their friend and the van driver in the other vehicle also suffered life-changing injuries. Caitlyn's mum Sharron recalls the last time that she saw her daughter alive.
But that evening on a rural road that they were travelling on, I didn't have any concerns. My only concern was that her friend had just passed a test and may have been slightly nervous. But other than that, no, because it's an area around where we live, I didn't raise any concerns that evening. Actually, when the girls left, they were giggling to each other as her friend who was driving was saying that, she didn't like her shoes that she had on because she had flat shoes on for driving, and they were just giggling as they left the house, actually. And then I could hear them, going down the drive, just chattering to each other. So yeah, they were in really good spirits that evening.
Caitlyn's friend, who had passed the driving test just 4 months before, was driving. It was mid-July, so it was still daylight, but crucially, there'd been heavy rain just beforehand. Around halfway into their journey, shortly after passing through the village of Bootle, this combination of driver inexperience and road conditions would combine with tragic consequences.
She'd entered the bend in a rural road a little too fast for her experience of driving. She wasn't driving above the speed limit, and unfortunately, with losing control of the car and trying to regain control, the car had spun onto the opposite carriageway, and unfortunately there was a car or a van travelling in the opposite direction, and so the car kind of spun into and in front of the van, and that's when a horrific collision occurred, and Caitlyn took the full impact of the crash, and we've been told that she died on impact. And the driver died too. They were both 18. The backseat passenger had serious injuries and spent 4 months in hospital. And the van driver also had serious injuries, lifelong injuries.
All too often, when young people are killed or seriously injured on our roads, there is an assumption that they must have been doing something wrong or driving irresponsibly. And whilst driver behaviour is certainly a key factor in many road fatalities, it was simply a lack of experience and maybe a moment's distraction that would lead to this particular incident and many more like it.
Then the coroner put the crash down to the inexperience of the driver. There was no breaking of any laws. There was no drink or drugs involved. There was no mobile phone use involved. It was just purely inexperience and not having an experienced driver in the car to say to her, slow down, we're coming up to a bend now.
An evening, which had begun with laughter and excitement, had now turned to one of unimaginable tragedy. But for the families and friends of those involved, the nightmare was only just beginning.
My husband has classic cars, and he was going to put one in a show the next day, so he decided he wanted to take that car out for a run to check it was running properly and running good. And so we'd gone for a run out in the car, and some police cars sped past us really fast, and my husband said to me, there must have been a crash. And my first thoughts were, and I said to my husband, oh God, Caitlyn's friend's just passed a test. So stupidly, I messaged Caitlyn and said, are you there yet? And didn't receive a response from her. And it still never registered with me that anything may have gone wrong. I just thought she can't have a signal where she's at, because around the lakes it's like that. We don't have a good signal. And because the girls were out enjoying themselves as well, I didn't think that Caitlyn would be constantly looking at her phone. So I just thought, oh, maybe she just hasn't looked at her phone and seen that message. my son came running down the stairs and said the girls had been involved in a collision, which I then shot up off the chair and said to my Mike, oh, maybe that's what them police cars were for. So then after that, I, of course, was letting Caitlyn's elder sister know, because she doesn't live at home. I rang her and let her know that Caitlyn had been involved in a collision. She then started ringing round hospitals to see which hospital they'd been taken to. We then had a phone call from the hospital asking me questions of what Caitlyn was wearing. Did she have any significant markings on her? And then when they said to me that the girl in the hospital had a tattoo, and I said that Caitlyn didn't, we kind of were worrying then, where was Caitlyn? Why, where was she if that wasn't Caitlyn in the hospital? And then it was about 1:30 in the morning, and the collision had actually happened at 8:10. But it was 1:30 when we eventually found out, and liaison officers came to our house, and they then told us that it was Caitlyn and the driver that had been killed in the crash. We were basically told that evening, and within 10 minutes the police left the house, and then we were just left to our own devices. We had to go and identify Caitlyn the next day, and as I said, there was no information coming through at the time because there had to be an investigation about why it happened and everything. So I wasn't getting any support from anywhere.
Following Caitlyn's death, Sharron is now a key campaigner for graduated driving licences, which she believes would significantly cut the number of young people killed and seriously injured on our roads, preventing other families from going through the trauma and the heartbreak that her family and Caitlyn's friends have been through.
What needs to be highlighted is the positives about a graduated driving licence as well. Sadly, in past years, the media cover it as a negative thing. They use negative language, like that it's penalising young drivers and restricting young people. And what I want to get the message out to everybody is that this is a life-saving law. It's a positive thing, and that through having a graduated driving licence that will reduce deaths, young deaths on our roads, this will also be a positive thing for the insurance premiums, that it would bring those high costs down. We don't want young drivers, if they survive the crash but they've killed their friend in a crash, we don't want them living with that guilt for the rest of their life. We're literally, when you're driving a car with your friends in the car, you have got their lives in your hands.
But despite the overwhelming evidence and support for graduated driving licences, the UK government recently announced that it wasn't something they were considering. This is something that Sharron understandably finds hard to understand.
I am shocked and I'm hurt as well. I'm really hurt that it seems to be that the ministers are accepting these deaths on our roads when we know that there's more deaths in young people through road traffic collisions than through gun or knife crime or terrorist attacks, so it's heartbreaking actually, and that's why I am so determined to keep on campaigning.
So, if the government aren't considering graduated driving licences as an option, what can be done to reduce the number of young people who unnecessarily lose their lives on the roads every single year? Here at Bill Plant Driving School, we take our responsibilities extremely seriously. Ultimately though, it is down to each and every one of us to understand our responsibilities and to take them seriously.
Driving instructors play a vital role in preparing our young people for a lifetime of safe driving. But we can't do this alone. Parents are important too, and it's important that we work together to ensure future road safety. Passing the driving test is important, of course, but that pales into insignificance compared to making sure that our young people are safe and alive when they go out on the roads on their own and with their friends.
I want people to know about rural roads being more dangerous to young drivers than motorways, we know through research as well. I think there's the common misperception of motorways being more dangerous and now I know it's rural roads that are. I also want to raise awareness about, when your child has just passed the test, that with every extra same age passenger that they carry, the crash risk increases with every extra passenger that they carry. All these things that I was totally unaware of. And the thing is as well, I think if you can, as a parent, put these rules in place, seeing as the government aren't going to implement this life-saving law, if you could talk to your child about the crash risk being, higher with carrying passengers, especially late at night, I think, that's the best thing to do, is just to raise awareness to them.
And if you are a recently qualified new driver, please don't think that this could never happen to you. With your driving licence comes huge responsibility to keep yourself, your friends, and everyone else safe on the roads. As drivers, we also have a responsibility to make sure that our friends and family never have to go through what Sharron and her family have had to go through since Caitlin died. It's all too easy to believe that what happened on this road on that fateful July evening in 2017 could never happen to us or to our families. But just like you, Caitlin was very much a real person, a young woman with a loving family and her entire life in front of her. Her life was to be cut short on the UK's roads, just like thousands before her, and unfortunately, thousands more to come. The time has come for us all to take responsibility.
Caitlin worked at Ravenglass Railway, and she loved her job there, and all the staff loved Caitlin. She was the youngest one in the cafe that worked, and they kind of mothered her. They nicknamed her Ods after Audrey Hepburn, as she always wore her hair up in a bun for work, with working in a cafe, and she had petite features like Audrey Hepburn as well. And so that was what they nicknamed her. And then after Caitlin was tragically killed, they planted a cherry tree in memory of Caitlin, and on the plaque it says in memory of our Ods. And for the Christmas tree they had a bauble made as well with Ods written on it. And I think that's just lovely that she got that nickname. And as I say, they were all absolutely devastated over the loss of Caitlin, because as I say, they treated her as the baby of the group of them that worked there. And Caitlin loved all them as well. She was such a loving person. Yeah, but yeah, it's really lovely of them.